Now on Nightside, some community members speak out against the Spokane City Council's resolution to denounce Mayor Nadine Woodward's recent appearance at a far-right religious rally. What they had to say.
Clouds and some sprinkles across the region today. I'll let you know if there's any more rain in the 7-day forecast.
And a major ruling on the future of the Pac-12, how the judge blocking an upcoming board members meeting is a win for WSU. You're watching 4 News Now, Nightside. And thank you for staying up with us tonight. I'm Kirsten O'Connor. Multiple people made their voices heard tonight, speaking against the Spokane City Council's resolution to denounce Mayor Nadine Woodward's recent appearance at a far-right religious rally last month.
I'd like you to show me this Christian national behavior. I don't even know the definition of what that entails.
The mess our society is in today is a result of secular nationalists, a planned destruction of traditional morals and values, and the elimination of God and faith from the public square.
Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward appeared alongside former Washington Representative Matt Shea last month. During that event, several people on stage asked for a prayer over Mayor Woodward, and Shea offered a blessing for her re-election. Shea has been condemned by his own party for religious extremism. The resolution is being put forward by council members Zach Zapone and Betsy Wilkerson, saying the mayor's appearance tarnishes the reputation and image of the city of Spokane and its citizens. Spokane police are searching for whoever is responsible for this vandalism on the Rainbow Crosswalk in Spokane's South Perry district. The graffiti was found early Saturday morning. Community members say this is making people feel unwelcome and unsafe. The Odyssey Youth Movement director Ian Sullivan says the crosswalk was just installed this year, and it's heartbreaking to see hatred in his neighborhood.
Even as an LGBT adult, this is supposed to be my safe neighborhood, my safe city. So this is not just something we need to worry about for our young folks. This is for all of our community members.
Spokane police say they don't have more information about who is responsible for the vandalism yet during their investigation. A man in a wheelchair was killed crossing the street in Spokane Valley last night. It happened near the Safeway on Sprague. The sheriff's office says the car was heading east when the man was hit in the road, and he died at the scene. Deputies say they don't believe the driver was impaired or speeding. They are still investigating. No charges have been filed. The name of the man who died will be released at a later time. 6 new police officers will soon be patrolling the streets of Spokane. The Spokane Police Department is in the midst of a staffing crisis and say new lateral hires like this will help relieve some of the stress current officers are up against. Monday, 6 of them were sworn in by Spokane Police Chief Craig Meidel. The 4 men and 2 women have worked as officers in other cities, all of them bringing years and experience to SPD. Spokane native Kelsey Torres has been in law enforcement in Post Falls for the last 7 years, and she started in dispatch and eventually worked her way up to an officer, hoping to follow in her family's footsteps.
My parents are in law enforcement, my grandma was in law enforcement, so it's kind of what I've always wanted to do, kind of the cliche father-daughter thing, followed in his footsteps a little bit.
Well, she says that the move to SPD comes with more resources and opportunities to grow as an officer, which is something that she is very much looking forward to. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office is using video surveillance technology paid for with federal funds. It's housed inside the public safety building in what it calls the Real-Time Crime Center. Lieutenant Justin Elliott says the whole project costs about $5 million that was secured almost entirely through the American Rescue Plan. The Sheriff's Office had already been using automated license plate readers, but it says those combined with new flock safety cameras takes their policing to a new level.
We've had it assist us with subjects fleeing shootings, dozens of reported and recovered stolen vehicles over the last few months, and additional arrests.
But of course, video surveillance comes with concerns about invasion of privacy. We'll hear from the Spokane Human Rights Commission and the American Civil Liberties Union in Derek Dice's special report. That's tomorrow night on 4 News Now at 6 o'clock. Well, we've been enjoying some nice cool mornings, encouraging everyone to open up those windows at night. Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker has your first alert forecast.
Plenty more of that as we get closer to fall. However, our days are really going to be warming up. Here are 4 things to know about your weather. Look for a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Tomorrow will actually be one of our warmer mornings with the clouds overnight. We'll look for a few mountain sprinkles tomorrow, but dry elsewhere around the region. We have a warming trend in our forecast heading into a very warm and sunny weekend. Here's a look at our satellite and radar right now, and we did pick up a few returns on our radar, but very little, if anything, ever reached the ground. You could probably see the Virga off in the distance, but a lot of that is evaporating before it ever reached the surface. Our high temperatures today were in the 80s, 82 in Spokane, 81 in Coeur d'Alene, well above average despite the fact that we did have those clouds. Our forecast radar shows those clouds staying with us off and on through the night as a cold front approaches for tomorrow. We had a weak disturbance moving through today, another weak disturbance for tomorrow. Mostly, though, you're just going to notice that mix of sun and clouds. A high temperature of 77, 76 is our average high. Air quality in the good range. I'll let you know how warm it is going to get by the weekend coming up in your 7-day forecast. Kirsten.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, week 1 of the NFL season is finally in the books, and we saw a lot of strange things happen already. Of course, you saw that Monday night debacle on our network just a few hours ago, but we also saw a lot of amazing performances. Hopefully, some of your fantasy teams led to the victory. However, there are 2 individuals in particular that once called the Inland Northwest home that really stood out on Sunday afternoon. Now, former Eastern Washington Eagle Kendrick Bourne had one of the best performances all weekend long. He brings in 6 catches for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Patriots lost to the Eagles. Now, this is huge for Bourne as he brought in just 1 touchdown during the entire 2022 season. Both the new offensive system in New England expect to see him used a lot more this year. And Washington State Cougar River Craycraft continues to be an amazing part of that Miami's Dolphins offense. He caught 3 catches for 40 yards, including a touchdown in the second quarter. That helped the Fins to a shootout victory over the Chargers. And this could also be a huge season for River. He had just 5 targets in that game compared to 14 in all of 2022. Now, as for former Coug 3rd-round pick Deion Henley, the linebacker did not play in the Chargers opener against the Dolphins. He was held out with a hamstring injury, but you can expect to see a lot of him when he does return. Kirsten, I'll send it back over to you.
Alex, thank you. Well, a Whitman County judge made a major ruling on the future of the Pac-12 conference, blocking a meeting that could have ended with its dissolvement. It's a major win for the 2 remaining schools fighting to keep the conference alive. In court today, WSU and OSU fought to make sure that the schools that are leaving the conference don't have a say on the direction it's heading. They cited the bylaws of the Pac-12, which state that members who give notice to leave the conference forfeit their seat on the Board of Governors, meaning they no longer are allowed to vote on conference-related things. And they also argued that the departing schools have announced an allegiance to the new conferences they're joining, and there's no way they could still vote or act in the best interest of the Pac-12.
Members who have announced that they are leaving to join a competitor are no longer have any loyalty to the Pac-12 and cannot be entrusted to make decisions on behalf of the Pac-12.
Now, the judge ultimately ruled in favor of WSU and Oregon State, barring Wednesday's meeting from happening, and he also ruled that if all 12 schools can unanimously agree on an employee retention program or any solution moving forward, that action can be adopted into the Pac-12. New disaster aid comes to Medical Lake, and Coeur d'Alene pauses to remember the lives lost in the 9/11 attacks, how they honored the fallen. Plus, a dangerous encounter with an office chair caught on camera. Next on Nightside.
Track live radar on the 4 News Now weather app.
Take a day off, skip Mondays, and be water-wise this summer.
The doctor will see you now. But do they really? Do they see all that you are? At Kaiser Permanente, all of us work together to care for all that is you. Kaiser Permanente.
If somebody's out there and they're on the streets and they feel lost, I just want them to know that there is hope. And everybody ultimately may give up on you. It's very important that you don't give up on yourself. I know it's hard and I know it's difficult and you feel like you're not going to make it, but if you want to make it, best believe you're going to make it. Even though you don't think you can change, you can. And when you're ready, there are people out there that will help you.
Pop the champagne, humanity. We've done it.
Celebrate your night with big winners, shocking thrills, and living legends.
No, I've always thought of you as Dave Jr.
Every hair on my body is standing up right now.
Jimmy Kimmel Live, weeknights on ABC.
Global Credit Union got its start right here at Fairchild Air Force Base and now has branches worldwide. We are proud to honor our military members by wearing red on Fridays.
Red stands for Remember Everyone Deployed, and 4 News Now is joining Global by inviting you to wear red on Fridays, too.
Show your support for the men and women of our armed forces. Tell them and their families thank you for their service and for protecting our future.
Stop in any Global branch and pick up a red pin.
And then remember to wear red on Fridays from now until September 11th.
At Spokane Tribe Casino this September in the Winning Whirlwind Giveaway. Every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., 100 winners will win $100 in free slot play. That's a total of 500 winners in September. Only at Spokane Tribe Casino. You just win here. The all-new Bet Ahead feature is now live at Caesars Sportsbook, located inside Spokane Tribe Casino. Make your picks online from anywhere before you place your cash bets. Only at Spokane Tribe Casino. You just win here.
4 News Now is brought to you by Ace Hardware.
Thanks for staying up with Nightside. Your forecast for tonight, mostly cloudy skies, 54 for an overnight low. For tomorrow, a high of 77. Mix of sun and clouds. In the afternoon, winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. As you get closer to the Cascades in parts of the Columbia Basin, along the east slopes, we'll see some stronger winds. Here's a look at our forecast radar starting off tomorrow at 10 a.m. I took you through the overnight. We're going to see some sunshine around noon and then more clouds developing as the day goes on, and a chance of showers way up along the Canadian border as the system passes by to our north. Here's a look at that forecast starting off at 5 o'clock. Cold front moving through. It is weak. We're not going to see much in terms of any precipitation, just that increase in winds through the Cascade Gaps. And then by Wednesday at 5 o'clock, high pressure begins building in, and it is taking hold through the weekend. I'll talk more about that later in the broadcast. But first, here's a look at your planning forecast. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Will be clearing for Wednesday, up into the 80s for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and right on into Sunday. I will be back in just a minute to talk more about your weekend weather and the warming trend, plus introduce you to a legendary long-range forecaster. Gives the groundhog a run for its money, Kirsten.
That I will stick around for. And for the other stories we have to tell you. All right, thanks, Chris. It's been more than 3 weeks since the deadly Gray and Oregon Road fires broke out in Spokane County. Hundreds of homeowners returned to find their homes reduced to a pile of ash and debris. Now Disaster Aid USA is offering to clear all debris free of charge. Over the weekend, its volunteers were in Medical Lake helping one family clear out and sift through the ashes. These volunteers are local, many from eastern Washington or North Idaho. And thanks to their help, Torrey Carl and his wife won't have to do it alone or worry about the cost.
I keep saying we're just blessed, flat out. I mean, you lost your house. Yeah, we lost our house. So what? We're alive. And, you know, they come out here out of the goodness of their heart wanting to help people.
I mean, this devastation is incredible. There's so many homes, and it's weird. There's one home that's been untouched, and then 2 on either side of it that are complete rubble, you know, and it just makes no sense.
If you've been affected by the wildfires and could use some help like this, or you would like to volunteer, the contact for Disaster Aid USA is right there on our website. Find this story on KXLY.com. Nearly 3,000 people died in the terror attacks on this day 22 years ago. The names of those killed at the World Trade Center read aloud in Lower Manhattan. An American flag unfurled at the Pentagon and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, remembering the crew and passengers of United Flight 93. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office also held a memorial service to remember the deadliest attack in American history. Marissa Rio is in Coeur d'Alene and shows us the ceremony.
We all remember exactly what we were doing the day the planes crashed into the World Trade Center. Today, we not only remember the tragedy that unfolded, but also the heroes of that day.
Plane hit. Pretty much most of us went outside, and then we started recovery immediately. So I was out there for 22 hours on recovery, recovering bodies out of the building.
That's how Kenneth Johnson remembers September 11th, 2001. He and his fiancee were both working at the Pentagon for the Army back then.
I went to work that morning with my fiancee, and I went home alone. So she died that day, and it's important to do these remembrance, to share history, and to not forget all the victims.
Today's ceremony began with a salute to Gold Star families, those who lost a loved one while serving in the military. Veterans, first responders, and service members were all in attendance. The Kootenai County Sheriff delivered an emotional speech.
Immediately after 9/11, for 6 weeks or so, significant crime was down, and families came together. And it's unfortunate that it takes a tragic event like that, but much like a family, tragedy brings people together in a weird sense and an unfortunate sense.
Today, people look to our flag with strength and pride. We'll always remember that day and never forget those who lost their lives.
A lot of the people who attended today say they remember the day after 9/11, the day the community came together, united as one, to help wherever they could. Reporting in Coeur d'Alene, Marissa Rio, 4 News Now.
And those remembrance ceremonies carried on in New York. People living there echoing the sentiment felt around the country. Never forget. David Muir reports.
It was a moving scene. So many flowers, in some cases a single stem, placed by so many of the names that now surround the 9/11 Memorial's twin reflecting pools. Thousands turning out to pay their respects. At Ground Zero today, near silence. All you could hear was the water. Retired Vietnam veteran Corporal Rod Roderick.
Why is it so important to come here on this day?
Well, these are people who died for us. We feel we must celebrate their passing, and we come here to celebrate them dying for us.
To honor them?
To honor them dying for us, yes.
Husband and wife Dean Flores and Blanca Rivera from north of Tampa. They had never been here, but felt it was important to come. Why did you think it was so important to come here today?
I've always thought that one of the human flaws is that we tend to forget quickly and move on, which I think in a way that's good, but in a way that's bad.
They noted the thousands who showed up to pay their respects too, and yet how quiet it is here.
It's quiet. It just gives you a reminder of what's important to you and what you need to hold on to, you know, dearly.
There are people like you and me. I mean, it could be us. They're our family.
Laura Dooley and her 2 sons, Sean and Aiden. Her oldest, Sean, was born in New York City 10 years ago. He knew the story of 9/11, and he was the one who wanted to come back.
That stuck with him, and so for his 10th birthday, he wanted to come back to New York and see the memorial and see when it's lit up. And we do need to remember, and it's important to remember what happened.
Everyone we spoke to told us the same thing. We must never forget. In New York, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at the Pentagon, these Americans were heroes.
This is something that it's your country, and you've got to feel that for your country, you will never no soldier will ever be left behind. Even though you're a civilian, you will never be left behind, and we must celebrate that.
Much more to come here on Nightside, including 1 in 5 children are obese. What you can do to help your child stay healthy.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
In the heart of the Pacific Northwest, where hard work meets rugged beauty, there's a family that relies on the best, relies on powerful Kubota tractors and personal equipment support. They stand for hard work and dedication, shown in their pastures and animals. From fertile valleys to steep hillsides, Adams Tractor is here to support the backbone of the Northwest. We are your trusted Kubota dealership with 5 locations to serve your needs. Visit adamstractor.com.
Spokane's hottest music.
Man, I feel just like a rock star.
Hot 96.9.
Oh, life, how we admire you, are deeply fascinated by you. All your twists and turns and wild rides you take us on. The ups and the downs. Life, you live inside all of us, breathing, growing, beating. You are the reason we'll always provide world-class healthcare. Providence, we see the life in you.
You're being watched in real time throughout Spokane. The Sheriff's Office says it's for everyone's safety, but is it violating your privacy? I'm Derek Dice from 4 News Now. I'll take you inside the real-time crime center to get answers. Tuesday, only on 4 News Now at 6.
Hey, Donnie, can you give me one reason to call the advocates?
Sorry, Ken, I can't.
I can. I mean, who fights like we do? You can't give me one reason?
Nope.
How about that we take on big insurance bullies? We're not afraid of any case. We're passionate and smart. Really? You can't come up with one reason?
I can't come up with one, Ken. Because there are 500 million.
All the money we've recovered for our clients. Injured? You deserve justice. You deserve an advocate.
4 News Now is brought to you by Fairway Floor.
Well, in Washington state, there's a law that states you must secure any load that you have in the back of your pickup or trailer. Tonight, video proof of why that's important.
Just something flying towards us. Oh, that's gonna hit us. What was that? Like, what hit us? I didn't even see what it was.
Well, let's take a slow-mo view of that one more time. And you can see it's the base of an office chair flying through the air, hitting that windshield right in front of Lily Eaton's older sister. Glass went everywhere inside the car.
Well, I was like trying to reach around and see her face.
This happened just south of Salt Lake City. Lily says the base of the chair was just sitting there on the freeway. Another car hit it, sending it into her windshield. And unfortunately, it is not the first time I have read a story like that. It wasn't an office chair, but it was the back of some sort of a trailer hitch that came off and went flying. You'd be surprised what can fly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On the freeway.
That speed.
Yes.
Oh, and the damage. My goodness. Well, I'm just glad they are okay. Whew. Our high temperature today, 82 degrees. 76 is our average high now. It is dropping fast. 7:11 our sunset time. Here's our temperature trend over the next 7 days. This black line is our average high. We're going to be well up into the 80s through the weekend. In fact, next weekend will be very similar to the one that we just passed. Our weather pattern, this is starting off Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and we are watching for this high pressure moving in from the west as we get into Thursday. Now here's Friday, 5 o'clock, high pressure in control, keeping our skies clear and some beautiful weather with high temperatures up in the 80s. Well, looking beyond that, to the upcoming winter, many inland Northwesterners and really people around the country look no further than the woolly bear caterpillar. This picture is from Claudia G, and she spotted this gorgeous fellow in her garden out by Fairchild Air Force Base in northeast Spokane County. And the legend goes that the bigger, the longer those black sections are on either side of the caterpillar, the longer, the colder, the snowier the upcoming winter is going to be, where the middle section, if that is longer, then that means a more mild winter. Now, this is, again, a legend that spans the entire continent. There are woolly caterpillars just about everywhere. And as long as I've been forecasting, which has been many years, people have been giving me reports of the woolly caterpillars in their yard. There are even woolly caterpillar festivals in parts of the country. So, you know, who am I to argue with folklore? So maybe that looks kind of medium to me.
Yeah.
Maybe a medium winter.
That's what I'm thinking too. I've seen them before in real life. Yeah.
They're very cute.
They are. And I usually notice them on trees or trash cans.
Trash cans? That's no place for a woolly caterpillar. They should be sitting on a satin pillow. They're so cute. Like kitties.
Oh. So sweet. All right, well, we're going to go with that and hope that it's a mild winter.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. Well, September is National Childhood Obesity Month, and according to the CDC, obesity affects 1 in 5 kids and teens here in the U.S. It's typically diagnosed using body mass index. Dr. Roy Kim with Cleveland Clinic Children's says rates of obesity have continued to rise over the last few decades. Some contributing factors may be because of lifestyle, environment, or genetics. And he says it's important to get the health condition under control before it leads to long-term issues. For example, a child could go on to develop high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or type 2 diabetes even. When it comes to treatment, new guidelines were released earlier this year.
What's interesting about the new guidelines is that still at the foundation are therapeutic lifestyle changes, mainly nutrition counseling, and an increase in physical activity. We know these are effective and 100% safe.
Well, the guidelines also suggest offering certain weight loss medications or even surgery when medically necessary. To learn more, it's best to consult with your child's pediatrician. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
4 News Now is brought to you by Tina, the Tina Turner Musical, BroadwaySpokane.com.
Will you marry me?
I can't stop smiling.
I can't wait to love you for the rest of my life.
If you like pina colada,
true love and marriage, it starts here.
I'm the love that you've looked for.
I can't stop myself from falling.
Come with me and let's change.
Really falling in love with you.
I'm falling for you too.
If you like pina colada.
It's time to heat things up with Falco's annual More Than Fair sale. Our Enviro Fireplace showroom is simply too big to bring to the fair. So if you'll come see us, we'll give you the best deal on all Enviro pellet and gas heating appliances. Enviro Fireplaces at Falco's, 9310 East Sprague.
With Chevy Silverado and Silverado HD, you can take on the mountains, or you can move them. With the power of up to 36,000 pounds of max available towing and the confidence of an available 13.4-inch diagonal touchscreen. Whatever your mountain, there's a Silverado for you. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all Silverado 1500 pickups. Plus, get $750 cash allowance on this Silverado. See your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Honey, that was my brother. Can we bring him dinner tomorrow? He's been having a hard time since his accident.
Of course. I know it's been tough. There's so many costs that his insurance doesn't even cover.
I know. The ramp to his front door, transportation, meal preparation. What if something happens to one of us?
We should plan to sit down soon. We can look through the long-term care benefits that we're earning with WA Cares.
Find out how the WA Cares Fund can help.
It's time to heat things up with Falco's annual More Than Fair sale. Our Enviro Fireplace showroom is simply too big to bring to the fair. So if you'll come see us, we'll give you the best deal on all Enviro pellet and gas heating appliances. Enviro Fireplaces at Falco's, 9310 East Sprague.
Well, the Washington State Cougars aren't strangers to big games. They've been plenty in Pullman over the last few years, but the win against 19th-ranked Wisconsin on Saturday certainly felt very different considering everything the program has had to endure this summer. Now, we saw the offense continue to make strides throughout the game as Cam Ward didn't have his best numbers, but very effective nonetheless when the team needed him. And then, of course, we can't forget to mention how good the defense is, led by that monster of a line, R.J. Stone and Brennan Jackson, who had quite the day. And then back in the secondary, Shaw Smith-Wade just continues to show why he's going to be playing in the NFL someday. But it's on to the next game, and head coach Jake Dickert says sometimes going against a really good opponent exposes some things that you need to work on as a team.
and it was a great morning of learning, right? Yes, it was exciting. We had fun with it. Winning is fun. But, man, there's no better environment to learn than to go out there after a win. And we need to be better, and the focus will be on us in Northern Colorado and what we need to do to be better and to build this momentum. Last year, unfortunately, that win at Wisconsin kind of peaked our season. Okay, we want this to be the starting point of where we can go. And obviously, we know how hard the Pac-12 is. So it's going to be a weekly challenge.
But today, a bit of a blow for the offense as the Cougs wide receiver DT Sheffield is no longer with the program. Coach Dickert says it was his decision he made on his own. Sheffield transferred in from Northwest Mississippi Community College in January and was widely regarded as someone that would have a large role in the offense, but through only 2 games, he brought in 4 catches for 26 yards. And at the FCS level, the Idaho Vandals continue to look very impressive. Over the weekend, they blew out the Nevada Wolfpack to earn their first FBS matchup since they moved down a level a few years ago. And today, they were rewarded with being ranked 10th in the latest coaches poll, which means there are now 5 Big Sky programs ranked inside that top 11. Now to a team that had a disappointing weekend. The Seattle Seahawks. They came out and looked absolutely flat against the Los Angeles Rams, losing the season opener 30-13. But it's important to remember, it's only week 1. We're going to overreact naturally to this thing, and they'll even things out, so don't panic. Still, there are some valid concerns.
I'm really disappointed that we didn't come back in the second half and play better. I thought we were in okay shape at the end of the first half for just getting started, and I wanted to build on that in third quarter, and we weren't able to get that done. So patience dashed a bit to get this thing started.
Now, the test for Seattle won't get any easier next week as the team travels out to Detroit to take on the Lions, and they looked very good in their opener against the Kansas City Chiefs, so we could be looking at another shootout like last year. 4 News Now, we'll be right back.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app. At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
What I want people to know about Numerica's involvement is that it's genuine.
I work at a company that supports the community because we're a part of it.
It's important to give back to the community you live in. We are truly here to help, and we're passionate about it.
You're being watched in real time throughout Spokane.
It just gives us the ability to react to crime and other public safety needs.
The Sheriff's Office says it can solve violent crime, missing persons cases, school threats, and even help with wildfires. But is this surveillance violating your privacy? I'm Derek Dice from 4 News Now. What's happening inside the control room? How far do its eyes and ears reach? And who should be worried about it? Go inside the Real-Time Crime Center, Tuesday, only on 4 News Now at 6.
Pictures on my phone like everything is so fine. Little bit of sunshine.
It doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you say it often. Praise your child at least 4 times for every time you correct them, and you'll be on your way to raising a confident, caring kid. 4-to-1 Praise is just one of the many parenting tools from the experts at Boys Town. Visit boystown.org/praise to receive your 10 Ways to Praise magnet. It's a great reminder to keep it positive, and that helpful parenting advice is just a click away.
See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.
Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Also, join the debate on my Facebook page about what kind of caterpillar I just showed. I've got some caterpillar experts.
Yes, who are awake at 11:34 on a Monday.
There's a picture there.
The only caterpillar I know is the very hungry caterpillar.
Oh,
remember that one?
I love that book.
I'm so impressed.
Does Gigi
that you
have
know
that
yes.
one? Oh, good.
We all love Alex right now. That was the best.